Let's go. It's your back, they keep passing. It they bring out the best thing. I they feel your recipe. Make you give me that recipe. Fine, fine. Yeah, you fine. You so divine. I they feel you die.
What's up, people? We got a new episode of Awesome Entertainment. All right, I'm Joel Awesome. I'm your host. All right, we're gonna check out news about Godzilla Kong, okay? Now, I fucks with this franchise, okay? I likes this one. It's basically just action, you know what I mean? Just two big CGI monsters fighting.
What's up, everybody?
Two big CGI monsters fighting, but apparently there's an update, so I'm not knowledgeable of the characters. I just watch them whenever they drop a movie or something. I did watch the Netflix Godzilla, which was fire. But it was a little bit of different take from outer space. But apparently, SpaceGodzilla is confirmed for the new one. This sounds trippy, man. This sounds trippy. I don't know how they're going to convert this to live action. But let's check out this video.
Welcome to
D-Man 1954.
Another Godzilla Kong Supernova news and updates. And
got a nice little video. Let's see if he can inform us. See if we can learn something.
Official confirmation from a very reliable and rather unexpected source that seems to not only confirm what Toho monsters will appear in Godzilla Kong Supernova, but also seems to imply which monsters won't be appearing that many of us thought would be. So let's get on into it.
And some people were saying, I actually saw this on Instagram. That's what made me go look for the video. But some people were saying in the comments that, like, they need to do an individual Kong movie. They need to go back to individual movies, not crossover everything. And I kind of agree, but you got to keep the crossover. The crossovers are lit. But yeah, they should do an individual Kong movie and individual Godzilla movies as well. But this is Kong and Godzilla. With SpaceGodzilla, which is something else.
That is right, you guys. After a long build-up, it's finally time to jump on into what seems to be official confirmation on the big bad of Godzilla Kong Supernova. But before we do that, I want to show off some work, like always, some very appropriate pieces for the day. This first one comes to us from Kaiju Freak V2. This is their Godzilla meets SpaceGodzilla art with Godzilla looking up at SpaceGodzilla. Godzilla is so freaking tiny down there, man. SpaceGodzilla is towering over him. Dude, this is SpaceGodzilla would just punch Godzilla's lights out.
Now, the pictures I've seen of SpaceGodzilla are kind of weird looking. I saw one that was like, okay, that'd be a good live action look. But some of them are so trippy that it's like, I'm trying to see how they're going to convert this to real life where it don't look
this guy's buff.
This one looks right.
Noah Cortez did this one. This is Godzilla Wars. They're Godzilla and SpaceGodzilla redesigns for the MonsterVerse. I really like them. I love this Godzilla redesign. It's very cool. Kind of takes Godzilla in a sort of King of the Monsters direction while retaining a lot of elements from Godzilla Evolved that I really like. I think that this is a rather fantastic redesign, and I would absolutely love to see them go this direction in the new movie. And the SpaceGodzilla looks amazing. Great color on SpaceGodzilla, looking great. Got all the classic SpaceGodzilla elements, and holy crap, dude, the crystal wings on the flying form of SpaceGodzilla is so cool. That is so
I thought those were
really
spikes.
hope they take some kind of creative direction with SpaceGodzilla's design.
It's kind of weird because the Netflix Godzilla anime thing that they put together didn't have SpaceGodzilla in it, but they kept going outer space. Everything was about outer space.
And this new movie,
this dude got spikes on his knees.
Cooler things like that. That's something that I would love to see. I'm really excited to see what we get in this new movie. Lastly, I've shown off San Guno's SpaceGodzilla before, but I've never spent a lot of time on the actual SpaceGodzilla.
That looks good. That's the one.
Kind of iconic SpaceGodzilla.
That's the one that looks like, okay, that would be good live action.
This is such a cool SpaceGodzilla redesign. In particular, it looks fantastic from the front.
That looks
and it
better.
looks really great from some of these like low angle shots. It just
that looks
so
crazy
actually from some of these angles. I'm really excited to see what they do with SpaceGodzilla in this new movie and what the design winds up looking like. And I think that this one is a great way to pull from, especially the way that the crystals glow. Like I would love to see that brought into this new film.
Ooh. We know how I wonder if his beam is going to be different because the beam,
from the Warner
they got to get the ice Godzilla from the
peek for the kids this
other movie.
I'm assuming
they ain't seen it. I just spoiled
kids
it.
with him. They're on the Warner Bros.
You should have seen
Grant
it. Came out a while ago.
This post. This is really curious. Grant Spator then commented on this saying, now that's a focus group. Did they just hold the first test screening for Godzilla Kong Supernova? And what does it mean that the audience was a couple kids? Well, I think it's possible Robert is a crew member or...
That means you got the right audience. Look at that audience. Look at that. And you know what I'm saying? None of them kids over the age of, 12 and then a grown man who probably watch, television that's for kids. This is perfect. This is the perfect test group, okay? Do they like the movie? Okay, you're not selling this to soccer moms. That's what Marvel kept fucking up. You ain't selling this to soccer moms. This is who you're selling to. Or an executive
working at the Warner Bros. Lot.
Immature people or grown people like me who are immature. That's it.
Overall. And so it's possible that
we just want battles,
his actual kids in for a special screening of the movie. If this was a literal test screening, it would have more people. It would be bigger. It would also probably be a more diverse group of people. But it's interesting to me that whatever this was, the first screening was held for kids. It makes me wonder that despite the fact that a lot of fans are hoping that Supernova really leans more into like the Godzilla 2014 great and goes back to the original style of the MonsterVerse, I don't think that's going to happen. This movie was initially pitched by Adam Wingard coming off the back of The New Empire. While Wingard is not returning to do this movie, it was still built off the pitch Wingard had delivered. I think it's very likely that given the success of Godzilla Kong The New Empire, especially in the toys department, this movie will still remain more child-friendly than lots of the other MonsterVerse entries. If anything, I'm hoping that this movie leans back into a Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters vibe, but I could see them landing on something more like Godzilla vs. Kong.
Look, any of those is okay. Any of those is appropriate. If it's more like New Empire, I can understand you want to market to kids. If it's more like Skull Island and you up the intensity and the seriousness, then you just, I'm gonna love that even more. So either one works. Just find something in the middle, but if you really want to do it, keep it hardcore, man.
As extreme as The New Empire was, but
they're gonna put some jokes in it. They had some jokes in the last one. I'm
curious that we started out with a screening for children. I've also seen some people,
but the action was top notch.
It's a very valid theory that they could have been screening some special footage, maybe even just a trailer or a teaser for the movie. I don't actually think we're in the market for a trailer or a teaser for quite some time. Godzilla Kong Supernova is not.
I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna watch the trailer. I'm going to the theaters and watching it when it comes out, when it drops.
Chance I think we're getting a trailer is going to be San Diego Comic-Con next year, which will be in the summer of 2026. And whatever happens with Godzilla Minus Zero, whenever that movie is coming out, I think that will also help determine the ad campaign for Supernova, as I seriously believe that they could follow in the footsteps of The New Empire, starting the ad campaign for Supernova.
It's kind of crazy because Godzilla Minus Zero, the first one or whatever got more clout than the Godzilla Kong stuff. But it's funny how they have two franchises going back to back, parallel, and they can't, and DC can't do that. Like DC, y'all just do the same thing. You got Snyderverse, they got two verses. I mean, it's working for Godzilla.
December 2026.
Can't work for Superman.
Spring release. Warner Bros. Ad campaigns went from about 6 months on average to about 4 months on average after the pandemic. So it's possible that we could get a trailer or a teaser soon, especially because they already delivered the title card teaser. But I'm not getting my hopes up. And I'd be willing to bet that maybe these kids just saw some special sneak preview. But I think the fact that it was screened for children is sort of telling that this movie could still be a more upbeat, lighthearted, child-friendly approach.
As long as the action throws down, but if you really want to make you really want me to come back.
To be honest, this isn't the most groundbreaking news ever.
Make it a little bit scary
since pretty much the teaser for Supernova. But the Writers Guild of America has seemingly accidentally, I don't think it was an accident, confirmed that SpaceGodzilla will be in Godzilla Kong Supernova. I've seen many people being like, "Oh my God, how did they let this leak? How did Warner Bros. Let this leak?" It didn't leak. This is the Writers Guild of America. They're registering the trademarks basically that are going to be used in.
It ain't really a leak if we're going to tell you if it's going to be in the trailer. You know what I mean? If it's going to be on all the posters and we're going to be selling toys out the ass, it's not really a leak, bro. It's just, it's here.
Yeah, it's kind of a spoiler, I guess, because the ad campaign hasn't
started. This is what
yet.
nerds do. Nerds just find out earlier because they're looking at copyrights and
where
stuff.
They're not going to reveal SpaceGodzilla very early on into marketing. So this isn't a major spoiler. This isn't a major leak. This wasn't some, oh my God, they spoiled the ending of the movie moment. They're registering the trademarks early on. It's kind of like how we knew as far as 2014 that Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and Rodan were going to be in Godzilla 2. We just didn't know exactly what they'd look like or anything like that. As we got closer to King of the Monsters, we started to hear more whispers about that here and there. This is the same case. Like, this is a copyright trademark.
You ain't seen it, go watch it. It's fine.
I think it's exciting to know that SpaceGodzilla is going to be here, but this wasn't a major spoiler or a blunder on the studio's part. This is the official Writers Guild covering this. I'll go into detail on why they might have done that here in a second and what that tells us about what monsters aren't appearing in this new movie, probably. But this isn't the most groundbreaking thing, right? Ever since the teaser, we've thought that a cosmic threat was coming. There really aren't a ton of cosmic threats that Godzilla has been able to face. There's truly like Ghidorah, who he's already taken on in the MonsterVerse, Hedorah, Gigan, SpaceGodzilla. That's really the main arsenal of space monsters. I think it's exciting that they picked SpaceGodzilla. I would be personally more excited about Hedorah. That's personally what I would be most excited about, Hedorah or Gigan. But SpaceGodzilla is the one that a lot of us include.
I want to see that in live action. I want to see them come up with a live action version of that thing terrorizing the people of Earth.
Ever since that first
season. Godzilla gotta come say that.
Godzilla Kong, watch this, Space Godzilla. Remember, it literally kind of teased it in that title reveal all the way back in the day. And then a couple months later, Matthew Modine, who's going to be one of the lead actors in this new Godzilla movie, just openly posted hashtag Godzilla versus Space Godzilla about Supernova, started posting clips of Godzilla.
So it's not a secret.
Godzilla, started posting clips of Rodan. And so a lot of people, including myself, were like, okay, that's all the confirmation in the world that we need to say Space Godzilla is going to be in this new movie. This is just further confirmation. Space Godzilla is going to be in this new movie. This one comes from the Writers Guild of America, which is incredibly reliable. This is the union that protects all writers in the Hollywood industry. So this isn't like some random article posting that they've gotten a scoop. Space Godzilla is going to be in this. This is an official studio trademark right here. What I think is very important about this is the actual credit here. Based on the characters Godzilla and Space Godzilla, owned and created by Toho. So that seems to confirm that Space Godzilla will be joining Godzilla in this new movie. But what is very interesting is that it's only Godzilla and Space Godzilla. What about Mothra? Mothra is still around doing stuff in the timeline, would just be down there in Hollow Earth, unless she turned herself back into dust for some reason, waiting for the Iwi to wake her back up. Theoretically, Mothra is still down there in Hollow Earth protecting the Iwi village. Now, maybe we're not...
The thing is, I heard Mothra's show was pretty good, but I didn't watch it. And I think that's the issue, is that not a lot of people watched it or heard about it, so it didn't pop like it needed to. And I mean, when you see Mothra, it's like, but like, dude, we in Godzilla and King Kong? To a casual, it doesn't.
We're not going to be visiting them.
It don't do what it need to do.
Movie, so maybe Mothra won't.
I'm sure the diehard fans love Mothra.
Mothra's not going to play a part. That'd be a little disappointing, but it could happen. What about Rodan? Matthew Modine posted footage of Rodan, and now there's no Rodan confirmation here. Or Baby Godzilla, Little Godzilla, which I very much believe this movie will introduce Little Godzilla. I just do. I think that's going to happen. Little Godzilla was teased by Bailey Nagy on set of Godzilla Kong Supernova. She had a Little Godzilla Bandai figure on set. They were drawing Little Godzilla, and there's been other Little Godzilla teasers that have popped up here and there. I seriously do.
Yeah, that's toys galore. You know how many toys you gonna sell with a miniature Godzilla that's cute?
I think Baby Godzilla's gonna be in this new movie.
Yeah, you can put both in there. That's
just
easy.
like in the films, it could go either way. I don't know if he will appear or not. But why would they not just credit Rodan and Baby Godzilla here if they're gonna be in the movie? Or Mothra for that instance. Why would
you gotta keep something a surprise.
Those are the two central characters to this movie.
Keep a little bit of surprise.
Those are the characters who I think the marketing is gonna be centered around. Those are the characters who the film is going to be centered around.
$1 billion.
The lead monster. By the way, the reason it doesn't give Kong credits here is because Kong never gets credits, simply because Kong, technically speaking, is in the public domain. So you don't need to credit Kong. They're licensing Godzilla and Space Godzilla for sure. We don't know if they're licensing other monsters. Generally speaking,
King Kong in outer space
monster is the lead. Let's go through it really fast. Godzilla King of the Monsters does, in fact, credit Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Rodan. All four of the Toho Big Four. All four heavily involved in the marketing for the film. Heavily involved in the script. Those four characters are very important to the entire movie, and the movie was sold off the back of them. Kong Skull Island does, in fact, in the end credits for the film, have to credit Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah due to the post-credits cameo scene where they see the silhouettes of them. However, the Writers Guild doesn't credit those characters because they're just smaller cameo characters. Godzilla versus Kong. It depends on what your terminology you want to go with here is. I personally don't consider Mechagodzilla to be a cameo at all in Godzilla versus Kong. He's incredibly integral to the plot. You see his eye 10 minutes into the movie. Mechagodzilla himself appears at the halfway point killing a skullcrawler, and then Mechagodzilla is the entire crux of the final
Mechagodzilla was dope.
Mechagodzilla goes on a whole rampage, takes on Godzilla, and eventually has to be defeated by Godzilla and Kong uniting. Mechagodzilla is incredible incredibly integral to that film. And yet, the Writers Guild website only credits Godzilla. It does not credit Mechagodzilla, despite the fact that Mechagodzilla is a major part of that movie. Mechagodzilla was not used in the marketing for Godzilla vs. Kong. Mechagodzilla was not used to sell Godzilla vs. Kong until after it released.
That is true, and that was a great surprise, though. That's the thing, like not marketing and not talking about it. When it came in, he was like, "Oh shit!" Like I actually knew who that was, and I'm a casual fan. Like I was like, "Ooh, Mechagodzilla's in this." So that is cool, but I think SpaceGodzilla is too big of a name, or too crazy of a concept. I won't say big of a name because not a lot of people know about that stuff, but it's too crazy of a concept to not start your movie off with that, because everybody's like, what's the movie gonna be about? If you're a casual fan like me, you never read any comics or anything like that, you're gonna be like, what's the movie gonna be about? And when they brought in the orangutan and the ice Godzilla from the third movie or whatever, second movie, that was dope. That was dope, but it wasn't a surprise. This is also not a surprise. Mechagodzilla was a surprise. Hey, that's why they saved some shit. Baby Godzilla, hey, maybe we ruined it. Maybe we spoiled it. I'm sorry if we did, but I'm happy to see it. And we're going to go watch it. We're going to make it $1 billion. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. Y'all, I'm out.
Don't play with my patience. Man, they gone with the flow when they trying to fake it. That's not the way I roll. That's not the combination. You start off with the dough before you start the conversation. No one start the salutations, man, don't play with me. I'm coming from a place they would hate to be. I'm going through a phase you would hate to see. They say this life's a trip, ain't no telling where it's taking me. When you on the edge and you make your next move, better be your best. Before you throw it to the depths, better reinvest. Man, I count every moment and count every step, so I know I'm blessed now.